Good morning, Wareham. It is Monday, March 9th. We have a great show here for you, the news headlines, the weather report, and today in history. This morning, we'll be hearing from three members of the Urban Cannabis Grow Association. They're here to discuss the recreation marijuana industry among communities of color. And a one woman's story is a cautionous tale to all women. We'll be playing my interview with Leah Fariha, who gave birth to a 20-pound tumor. But first, I would like to take this moment to thank Not Your Average Antiques, an antique shop down Cranberry Highway in East Wareham, for donating the props that you see in the morning show. So stay with us because the news and the weather report are next. Wareham, we got the following stories. A bill that will allow the proposed racetrack and casino in Wareham has been pushed to June 1st. The bill was introduced by Massachusetts State Representative Susan Gifford. It proposes granting the Gaming Commission the authority to offer a slots-only license for the South Coast and Cape Cod region rather than the full-scale resort casino license currently available. The bill has secured the endorsement of the South Shore Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. South Shore Chamber President and CEO Peter Foreman believes that Gifford's legislation will enable an open and competitive process that will lead to the best possible solution for the region, one that complements the tourism industry and the region's economic strength. And YMCA takes special precautions to help prevent the possible spread of coronavirus cases as the cases are spreading. So cases have been confirmed in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, but none have been confirmed on the South Coast. Twice each week, YMCA staff will deep clean the child watch area and the cardio equipment. All the facilities will use additional disinfectant during their weekly cleaning. The YMCA also urges members to stay home if they are sick, wash hands frequently for at least 20 seconds with soap and water. Also use hand sanitizer when entering the Y, and wipe down equipment after each use. And the Wareham Police Department welcomes two new hires. Hannah Salerno and Marky Wilkes are the newest addition to the department. Salerno is a lifelong resident of Onset and a graduate of Wareham High School. Wilkes has served as a summer special police officer in Wareham and has earned a bachelor's degree from Westfield State University. Both are currently attending the police academy and will graduate in several weeks. And that concludes this morning news headlines. Coming up is the weather forecast. Get those shorts on because it's going to be a wonderful day. A teaser of how great summer is going to feel after what happened on Saturday. That snowstorm, unbelievable. Abundant of sunshine, high around 59 degrees today. Winds at 10 to 20 miles per hour, partly cloudy this evening with more clouds for overnight. Low around 43 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, high around 57 degrees, so slightly lower from what we're going to be experiencing today. Winds at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Rain showers in the evening, becoming more intermittent overnight. Low around 46 degrees. Winds at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Wednesday, some sunshine and some clouds, high around 52 degrees. Winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy skies early, then partly cloudy later and midnight, and low overnight around 52 degrees. And Thursday, same case, partly cloudy, high around 51, winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour, and partly cloudy during the evening, and we are looking at 38 for a low. It's going to be a wonderful, sunny, warmer week. So do not skip work, though. Anyhow, that concludes this morning weather forecast. We are going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we're going to continue with our show. Well, on Friday, I sat down with Leah Faria, a Wareham resident, a mother of 4. She recently underwent a massive surgery. This is her story, a cautionary tale to women, and she needs your help. Take a look.
It was just humongous. It's unbelievable. I look at the picture and it looks like I'm looking at somebody else. I couldn't believe it, because something as simple as a fibroid can turn around and kill you. I mean, I would never thought that it would have actually jeopardized my life. It could happen to you, it could happen to your sister, it could happen to your cousin, your mother, your aunt, it can happen to any woman. You know, usually it doesn't happen to people who are really, really young, but you know, if you're old enough to make a baby, you're old enough to have a fibroid.
A few months back, Leah woke up to a harsh reality. What she believed was stubborn fat around her abdominal was in fact a 20-pound mass hovering her organs.
Tried a couple of different ways to lose weight, different cool, you know, on-the-rise diets, and nothing really worked.
Before the diagnosis, you weren't feeling any pain, any unusualness?
No, not until about 6 months before the surgery. I started to feel like heavy and tired, and I thought, you know, I'm just low energy. I don't know what I thought, maybe my vitamin deficient, or, you know, maybe I thought that I was run down, or I had lots of kids. I have a child with a disability, so, you know, trying to upkeep with 4 kids, I just thought it was me.
She became aware of the growth during her last pregnancy. She was assured that it was non-threatening and would eventually shrink, but that was not the case. 4 years later, Leah found herself on an operating table. What the doctors believed was a fibrosis inside her uterus took everyone by surprise.
My fibroids were not actually in my uterus, that they were actually outside my uterus, and that they were, you know, 30 centimeters, 20 pounds worth of fibroid that had attached itself to other organs and, you know, other parts, my bladder, my abdominal wall.
So you survived the surgery, and this was when?
I had the surgery on the 14th of March.
So just not even a month?
Not even a month ago, yeah.
You're home. You had a bit of implication a week ago.
So about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I went in for my regular appointment after the surgery. They have you go for like an appointment post-operative, and when I went in there, I did not feel well. I had had a fever running for about a day or two, and they had said, oh, you know, just take ibuprofen. This can happen after surgery. You know, keep a lookout for, you know, any bleeding or complications. And I did, and about 24 hours later, I started to bleed, and I went in and I realized I had a massive infection.
You're not out of the woods.
No.
And you are facing another dilemma at home.
Right.
As you mentioned, you still have to really take care of yourself. Your husband took some time out of work.
He did.
But now time is running out. He needs to
So-
return back to work.
And it would be nice if my husband could take time off, but financially I mean, he could be here for me, but financially we just can't have him take a time off. And for being a family that doesn't have, those supports in place, and we have the expectation that, we're going to be able to work, that it's very unforeseen, the expenses of having a health problem like this.
The biggest challenge is finding full-time help at home. Leah doesn't have a lot of family around. She currently depends on her neighbors and in-law to help with the children and upkeeping of the house.
I had to hire people to help me, a housekeeper to upkeep here and there, babysitters to watch my other children so I can rest, help from other people that, may come into my home and give me assistance and other things.
And now how expensive is that? All those costs accumulating?
It's a lot. It's a lot.
And you are so humble about this. When we spoke, I had to pursue you to sit here with me today,
Yeah.
right? To have
Yeah.
this interview.
I did. It took me some time to think it over.
And also you said you didn't want to beg.
I don't want to beg. I just want to ask, if the community is capable of giving something $5, just anything that could be contributing to my recovery. I'm willing to accept anything and gratefully, humbly accept it.
How do you comprehend waking up to this reality? Is it getting better?
It's getting better. I'm dressed today. That's the best I can ask to be. I mean, I'm not sitting around in sweatpants, and I'm not crying in my own self-pity.
Today, this harrowing story is a cautionary tale to every woman.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much for your courage to sit and tell your story.
Thank
it
you.
resonates with many women out there.
Thank you so much for hearing me out. I hope that somewhere out there there's a woman who has not gone to a gynecologist, and I inspire her to go and seek out an annual appointment and take care of her health. Fibroids are just so common. It's just, we wouldn't think that it would cause such an incredible health condition that could be debilitating or keep you from being physically active.
Mm-hmm. What a story, and I apologize we didn't give you a warning ahead of time that it was going to be a very graphic story. We'll put that warning for our replay this evening at 6. Right now we're going to go on to our second featured program of the day, my interview on Friday with Tom Stewart, who will be one of the comedians performing on this coming Friday at the Elks Club, at the Elks Lodge Club. Take a look. Well, good morning and welcome back. So we have our first guest in the studio, Tom Stewart. No relation to Rod Stewart or
No.
Martha Stewart.
No.
No.
No, I'm like the 12th most famous Stewart.
If only you could cash in on that.
Yeah,
So you are a stand-up comedian.
I am.
All right, so tell us about your beginnings.
Oh,
Oh.
it's very early this morning right now. It began with some toast and butter this
Yeah.
morning. Oh, you meant my career?
Yes, your career.
About 10 years ago, a friend of mine talked me into taking a comedy class because I've always loved comedy. I've always liked writing jokes. And I took the class and never stopped performing.
Never stop performing.
Yeah, I loved it, and it's what I do.
Now, telling somebody you're a stand-up comedian, how much respect do you garner from that?
Depends on the person, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Half the people say, "Well, tell me a joke."
Yeah, yes,
You
right
know?
away. They think,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and if you're an accountant, I'm going to say, "Oh, do my taxes." So it depends on who you talk to. Other people, they look at you like, "How can you do that?" Like I'd be so scared because some people would rather jump off a building than stand on a stage and try to tell jokes because it can be scary for some people.
Now, when you tell jokes, do you tell jokes that are funny to you or funny to people? And how do you decide on that?
Well, they were funny to me when I wrote them.
Okay.
But now I've told them thousands of times, so they have to be funny for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did stand up. Tell me about your first experience on stage.
Well, let's see. It's hard to remember it because it was like a blur, but I remember my first time really doing comedy on stage was right after my comedy class. We trained for 8 weeks, and then we did a graduation show at Catch a Rising Star. which used to be the comedy club at Twin River Casino. It's no longer there. And I got to go on for 7 minutes, and there was like 100 people there, and it was just, I just did what I was taught to do, and I don't even really remember it. It's like a blur, because I wasn't nervous about being on stage, but I was nervous about not being funny.
How do you, during your comedy class, how do you teach? How do you learn how to be funny?
Well, you have to kind of have it in you already, but somebody who's got some years experience on you can teach you the little things, about how to rearrange some of the words in a joke, or how to stand on stage, or where to look when you deliver the punchline. There's a lot of things like chemistry and rules to it that actually help.
So it's not funny when you're going through the class.
It can be.
It can be.
But it can also be very nerve-wracking too, because you got a classroom of people telling you your joke's not funny, and here's how it would be funny.
Oh my God!
So you can't have an ego about it either. You have to be able to be willing to understand people who have more experience than you might know what they're talking about.
Now, how free are you to sharing your jokes back in your mind? Somebody stealing that. Like, how free can you be?
Well, there's nothing you can really do about that. I mean, you say something, it's out there. Just like these days, if you put something on Twitter, it's out there. Someone can steal it from you. So you just have to, I think, if you create something, I feel like there's just that attachment to it that sticks with you, and someone tries to steal it from you, they just won't have that same personal touch to it. You know what I mean? So, it's your joke. You created it, so you're going to deliver it with that much more passion.
Now, most comedians and whom I listen to, they sometimes make fun of themselves. Most of them make fun of themselves.
Yeah.
What about you is funny?
Well, I do have this zit on my face this morning. I don't know if you want to zoom in on that. I don't.
Because you look like a pretty decent guy. So.
I make fun of how we all react to different things in life.
Okay.
So, I look at things in a different way than other people might, whether it be TV or a relationship or a job or anything like that, So, I make fun of myself. I start off all my shows telling people that I'm not the guy from the Subway commercials.
Oh my God! Actually, you look.
I know. I look like
him. Yes.
So,
and that actually, it's good you clarify.
Yeah, I just want to get that out of the way in the beginning. It just helps settle everybody. But when you make fun of yourself a little bit, then people are more comfortable with you making fun of other people or making fun of them, because they realize that you're being genuine and that you're just playing around, and that you don't have an ego about yourself.
So people are relaxed, and then you start making fun of them.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't really do too much of that. But you kind of when you're a comedian, you're trying to tell people how to think. They're kind of letting themselves go and just going in the direction you take them. So you have to really put them at ease, and by kind of making yourself vulnerable at first, it makes it a lot easier to do that.
Is it easier to be a comedian, harnessing the bad moments in your life, tough moments, or is it easier to write materials when you're happy?
I think most of my best jokes came from bad times, probably.
Yeah, and why is that?
I don't know. It's kind of a therapy. Yeah, it's kind of a therapy for me to be on stage, I think. It's cheaper than going to a psychiatrist. But yeah, that's how comedians deal with trauma and deal with depression and sadness. Or, if you break up with someone, you write jokes about it. If you get fired from your job, you write a skit about it. That's how comedians deal with it.
So is that how that's your outlook in your life? When things don't go according to plan, you say, that will make a great joke?
Sometimes, yeah. A lot of times, yeah. But even when things are going great, I'm still looking for the funny in it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's always something funny everywhere.
Are you a storyteller, or you're a one-liner kind of comedian?
Not a one-liner, but not really a storyteller either. I try to just do little observations as I go, and try to give you as many laughs as I can along the way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, getting personal here, are you married?
I'm not married, no.
Is it because you're a comedian?
I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. No, I've got a great girlfriend, and we've been in a relationship now for a long time.
Okay. So, and is it, how easy or hard is it? Like, where do you draw the line between being professionally funny and messing up your relationship because you want to crack a joke.
No, I think even if I wasn't a comedian, I could mess up my relationships pretty
Okay.
easily with jokes.
Pretty fair, pretty fair.
Yeah. No, you have to have someone in your life who's very supportive of what you do, because I spend a lot of time either on the road or on weekends out at night, sometimes 3 or 4 nights a week. So, if you're going to be a comedian, your partner has to be someone who believes in what you're doing and understands that you have to go out and perform all the time. Comedy is like working out a muscle. You have to always be exercising it. So they have to be understanding of that, and they kind of have to put up with you trying out jokes on them all the time too. So.
Now, you used to, because according to the website, and correct me if I'm wrong, do you still work at 99.1 Boston?
I don't.
Okay.
No. I
You used
left,
to host a show
I left,
there.
I used to be the morning show host on a local radio station, and I left that job about a year or so ago. And I've just decided that I want to do comedy and nothing else.
And speaking of that, now you're doing this, what is it called? Funny for Jokes?
Funny for Fun.
Fun for Funds.
That's the company that I work for. I
Okay.
have my own franchise of Funny for Funds in the south coast of Massachusetts area. What we do is we do stand-up comedy nights to help raise money for different causes. So if somebody has a youth sports league that needs to raise money, or somebody has a charity they're trying to raise money for, we help them design a fundraiser and then have a comedy show as the thing that they sell tickets to, and they can make money for their cause. And it's such a great thing, and we raise so much money for so many people. We've raised $5.8 million in less than 6 years. Yeah, all
It's
for
better
local charities and causes.
It sounds more interesting than GoFundMe.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot more fun. It's more fun than anything, really, because what's better than giving someone laughter, you know? If someone's going to support your cause, you want to give them something in return. So laughter is what's better than that, you know?
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So any event, you just contact
funnyforfunds.com. They can just go to the website and reach out, and somebody will help them design a fundraiser for whatever their cause might be.
Very good.
Yeah.
And you are also going to be performing this coming Friday, March 13th.
Yes, the
Next
13th.
Friday.
Yep.
Right here at the Wareham, New Bedford Lodge.
The Elks Lodge, yes. My career is really booming.
Yeah.
I'm getting famous one Elks Lodge at a time. Yeah, it's going to be a great show. Frank Santorelli is headlining. He used to be on The Sopranos. He was Georgie the bartender on The Sopranos, and he's very funny. I've worked with him a few times. And I'll be on the show. AJ Happney, Ed Wah, a bunch of comedians are going to be on. And it's a great lineup. It's going to be a funny show. If you're easily offended, maybe not. But no, it's going to be a fun show. Some great comedians, and I hope we pack the house, because this is like the show of the year right here. It's an all-star lineup of comedians.
What would your material be about?
My material? Oh, it's just about observations of things in life. I have stuff about losing a job. I have things about losing a relationship, and all the different things that happen in between, and then some just goofy stuff too. Yeah.
Are you an inspirational comedian? Like, at the end of the day, do you aim towards a certain point, or you want people to extract or feel inspired?
No, I just want them to laugh.
Yeah.
I just want them to have fun and just feel good after, you know? Nothing's going to be better than laughing. It cures everything. So, yeah, I just want everyone to have fun and laugh. Yeah, I don't have a special message or anything.
Very good.
Yeah.
So this is the route you're going with. Right now you're
This is
full-time
it.
comedian.
Yeah, this is it. We'll see. If not, there's always Uber, right?
Oh,
There's always
my
Uber.
God. Wow, that's very interesting. Well, I am so happy that I got to meet you and we had this chance.
Yeah. Is this live? Are we doing this now?
This
What's
is
going on? Oh, this was it. Oh,
live.
awesome.
Oh.
That went pretty well.
This is
went pretty
live.
well.
There'll be a repeat this evening, but yes,
Oh.
absolutely.
Oh, a double feature.
A double feature.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but this is live, and I'm happy that viewers will get to know who you are, at least when they attend the show.
Yes,
will
come
say,
out.
I
Come out. Which camera is it? This one. Come out to the
Yeah.
Elks Lodge, Friday the 13th. It's bad luck if you don't come. And come, and I guarantee you're going to laugh and have fun. I'll talk to you after the show. You know, I'm not going to shake your hand, too much coronavirus, but I might maybe a fist bump. We do a fist bump.
Oh, are you
please
going to be
come out.
making fun of coronavirus? Is it too early?
I might. I just did a show last weekend, and there was someone in the audience with a mask on. And I was like, how do I know if you're laughing if you have a mask on? Could you just go like this every time it's funny? And so
Yeah.
he would give me thumbs up, a couple of thumbs down. I was like, all right.
Very nice. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm always wondering if it's too early or too late to make fun of
No,
something serious.
It's never too soon.
It's never too
Never too soon. Not for for comedians, no.
No, not at all. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
As I
having
said,
me.
yeah, Tom Stewart, no relation to Rod Stewart,
No,
Martha
or John,
Stewart.
or Martha, or Patrick, or Kristen, or Tony, or Jimmy. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of us.
Well, that was Tom Stewart, a comedian who will be one of the comedians who will be performing at on February 13th at the Wareham in New Bedford. March. Yes, March 13th. Yeah, not February. It's Friday. It's going to be a Friday, and March 13th at Wareham, New Bedford Lodge, the Elks Lodge, at 8 p.m. The gate is open at 7, and the show starts at 8 p.m. He is going to be there. So, yes, go and get your tickets. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to continue with more.
Today's cell phones are not only an extension of our arms, but a life tool. Hello, I am Maureen Farrington from Advantage Custom Apps. I am here today to talk about a certain app, a tool that will help you navigate your way through the Wareham community. The WCTV app places your local community in the palm of your hand. The app is a place where you will find local events, town meetings, local and school sports, community interest stories, compelling interviews, and most of all, the ability to shop local. Connect to the Wareham app by going to your web browser and typing in wctv.app. And then, once you bring up the web link, you have the opportunity of adding WCTV's app to your home screen. Once you download the app and save it to your home screen, you will then have the opportunity to, with the touch of a finger, hit the call button, which we call WCTV, the refer us button. You can refer the app to your friends and families. There's a Facebook share button if you'd like to put that on your Facebook page as well. And here is the menu tab. On the menu tab, we have YouTube videos, new program proposal, events that WCTV is hosting, a photo gallery, contact button, and can lead you right to their website. We also have a shop local tab. When you touch on that, you'll see the local businesses that you can frequent. Also, there's an About Us tab telling you some information about WCTV, their hours and directions. This here will take you right to their Facebook page. There is a donate button if you would like to donate to WCTV, and a join button that will let you join their community. Many local establishments are listing their business on the WCTV app. And you can too. It's a great way to showcase your business to your existing customers and your potential new ones. For a nominal fee, you could list your business on the Shop Local tab as well. A percentage of that fee goes to fund a scholarship for an outgoing senior. So be in the now and get the WCTV app on your home screen.
Hello, and thank you for being with us this morning. We are broadcasting live from our WCTV studio in Wareham. This is Good Morning Wareham, your source for local news, weather, and more information. And now for a moment in history. Let's take a look at where we were today in history. So Bob White has a joke, which I'm not going to say it out loud, regarding this first history part. On this day in doll history, Barbie makes her debut in 1959. The first ever Barbie doll first was displayed in New York City at the American Toy Fair. Barbie was the first mass-produced doll in the United States that had the features of an adult rather than a baby. The doll was created by Ruth Handler, co-founder of Mattel, and named Barbie after her daughter, Barbara. Using television commercials to help promote their brand, Mattel found massive success very quickly, and Barbie's boyfriend, Ken, would come out 2 years later in 1961. And also, today in war history, Germany declared war on Portugal in 1916. In the midst of World War I, Portugal honored an alliance they had with Britain by capturing German ships that were ported in a Portuguese harbor. Portugal would send in 50,000 men to fight in Belgium in 1917 to help the Allies fight the Central Powers. And also today in rap history, Biggie Smalls was killed in 1997. The man known as Notorious B.I.G. was shot while at a spotlight in Los Angeles. The rapper from New York represented the East Coast style of rap in the 1990s, while his foil Tupac from California represented the West Coast. Tupac was also killed in 1997, just months prior to Biggie's death. Biggie's murder has never been solved. And also for today's birthday, shout out goes to the Olympic winner Eric Flame. Eric was born in Pembroke, Massachusetts in 1967, and he won medals in 1988 and 1994 for short track skating. And that is all for this morning history segment. To learn more cool historical facts, you can go online under history.com. And happy birthday to everyone else celebrating their big day today. Stay with us. The coffee segment is next. But first, let's take a look at our events calendar. Okay, welcome back. And now it is the coffee segment with me. I'm joined with Ominique Garner. I have Goldie Piff, and I have Dawn Duncan. And they are here to talk about the recreational marijuana industry, especially on these communities of color. We haven't seen licenses granted to communities of color. Today is a very special day because the first two gentlemen, both African Americans, they are going to open shop in Boston. So we're going to talk about that, what that means, and the journey ahead. So yeah, welcome everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. May we start with Goldie? Can you tell us your association, what it is, and then what you're fighting for?
So Urban Cannabis Grow Up Association I'm a co-founder of it. We came together as a group of individuals that were seriously concerned about inclusion and diversity in our communities and knew that we had to act now because we are economic empowerment holders, where we own one of the oldest farms in the area, and we were granted an economic empowerment license. So as doing it, there was no support down here in the South Coast. And so we needed other people, allies, and noticing that the community didn't have enough information. As we went around and tried to explain the struggles we were going through, people hadn't even heard of Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission. And so that concerned us. If we don't know about it, we're going to be left behind. So we came together as a group of individuals and decided we'd start educating the communities. And as we did that, we realized that it wasn't just the people in the community, but actually the town and city officials that needed some help and guidance too. Right here in Wareham, one of the disproportionately impacted areas, we noticed there's no economic empowerment or social equity applicants coming through, no minority representation. And Wareham has been hit hard on the war on drugs. So it's important that they include their community in this process. They need to be owners here. They can be, and I think we just need to push more education in the community and let the community understand what this means to us. Wareham has always kind of been a go-getter. There's big change here from the cranberry industry. Well, if we think of it in comparison to the cranberry industry, it will be bigger than that and leave a bigger impact. So we need to make sure that the community is involved in building the system going forward.
So my question to you, how come these communities, like Wareham you mentioned, how come they didn't know the regulations and how to go about this? Just the lack of disinterest?
Well, I think in part there's layers to it.
Okay.
Number one, the Mass Cannabis Control Commission has had a lot on their hands, and we're still building this industry, so things are changing very quickly. And keeping the community informed, they've kind of left it up for people to figure it out on their own. And so that's where we felt coming together and going into different communities and doing events where we can explain, and we're not pitching a sales, just letting them know the opportunities and what you should be asking when we go for the outreach meetings. What should you be asking these businesses? How are they going to change your community? What impacts? What kind of business people are they? Do they care about your community?
The way that the way that the program is set up, it's that each municipality has their own set of rules and can create the industry how they want to create the industry. So meaning there is no, this is the right way to do it, this is the equitable way to do it, and that's what we're trying to form right now. And that's what makes it difficult, and being, all of us being in different areas and there being 12 disproportionately affected areas, to go to each of those towns and be like, all right, they gave economic empowerment priority review, but like there's no technical assistance with that. And like we have to go and do a community outreach meeting in order to get their approval and see what the community wants, because we have to directly impact these communities. And with that being said, we have to educate these communities on what cannabis is, and we have to break the stigmas that been here for years now. And it's kind of, it sucks that that's left up to people that are in the community and trying to be entrepreneurs. And we need our city councilors and the elected officials to really step up, and we need the CCC to come and educate the community. They need to have a we need a liaison. We need a liaison in all of these areas, or for each economic empowerment, no, all of these areas, to educate the community on cannabis and what it is, because it's tiring going into this, while we also don't have assistance on creating and forming our business plan as individuals of this community. So that's what we're working on now.
And it's a very complicated process.
Yeah.
So because you have, if you're a business that is starting, you have to do a lot of things on the local level, get the municipal approval, and then you have to apply to the state. But even those things aren't always clear, because there's a lot of, it's not always linear. You do one thing with the city, then you go to the state, then you get, say, a provisional license, then you have to come back to the city and get, say, a special permit. So it's really a layered, bureaucratic, intense process. So on top of educating the community about what's going on and helping businesses get started, even just the hands-on getting the paperwork done is a huge, complicated process as well.
It's
So
a layers on layers.
Layers on
and
layers,
there's fines that come and fees to all these layers. So each time you go in and this is one process, you're paying a fee. Then you got to think about, it's a fee that's transportation getting there, and it's a lot. So if you're thinking about the disproportionately affected community, there needs to be that technical assistance. We need someone to go meet that person directly where they're at, come to that community, meet that person at Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks, and we need you. Each community, municipalities are, Cambridge is awesome. They're working on, they did 2 years, well, they're fighting still right now, or they're pushing for two years exclusivity only for economic empowerment applicants. And they did that understanding that there is no technical assistance or support. There's no equity in this industry, and they're trying to create that. They've seen how the Cannabis Control Commission laid out this program and said, oh, okay, economic empowerment, let's give them this certificate. Oh, okay, we need to provide technical assistance. All right, let's worry about that later. Okay, that's going to be the social equity program, but when we created the social equity program, it then turned into not technical assistance, but a whole nother application process and another way of applicants, another pool of applicants to come in that get technical assistance, but some of these people can be economic empowerment people and some of them aren't. So that means it's a bigger pool, and still EEs don't really have the assistance that is needed. And are these people actually people that represent the demographic that has been disproportionately affected?
Now, when I was reading and what's been reported, and this morning I was taking a look at NPR, they have an article there talking about why there aren't community of color in this industry. And their conclusion is that communities of color are afraid to pursue these licenses because of the stigma. What are you saying? What is the counter argument?
So I will say that there's a lot of stigma that's holding us back in this community, but we have a lot of great, bright, young entrepreneurs, young and old entrepreneurs that are hungry for this. But we're being blocked out because of the regulation. Just because we have a certificate, it doesn't give you a pass to walk through things kind of guarded. We still face the racism that's been here since this country was built. And so with that being said, our whole government structure kind of has been set up against us. So now for us to join, it doesn't become any easier because they give you a piece of paper. Our education has been stalled, which means if we're asking people from these communities to step forward, they might not have a college degree. Some do, but a lot do not have that. That doesn't mean that you don't have a shot in this industry. And just getting that information out, that's been the biggest problem. Like you're saying you're here to help our communities, but yet you don't come into our community. You stand at the pulpit and talk and not walking in our community. So what we do is go out to the corners, stand on the corners, and just try and let's have a conversation about cannabis. I might give you a brownie. I might give you some pain cream. Just for a conversation, not because I want you to support my business. I want you to understand what's at stake when it comes to cannabis in our communities and how great of an impact it's going to have on us, not just economically, but for our mind, our body, everything. We do a lot of herbal remedies. At our farm, we'll be doing educational sessions where people can come and learn how to make your own medicine and to grow your own plant. We understand that not everyone is going to be able to get to these dispensaries. Here in Wareham, where this town is really struggling, it's a great town and trying to build up, we have one of the most expensive dispensaries here, and not one dispensary of color here. Wareham was built by Cape Verdeans working very hard and other people. But it's time for us to have our representation here in Wareham and everywhere else. As we're building this industry, we have to be deliberate about the inclusion.
Property is a huge barrier. So property has always been a barrier for the Black community, and redlining. And I say all the time, like, they set up, there's now redlining of the cannabis industry. So when you think about these buffer zones that's stopping us from opening up businesses in our own communities, or businesses and they're like, why can't I open up here and you open up over there when I'm a retail and you're a lab? Or, you know, we're two different things and we're not gonna have the same customers coming in and out. So just thinking about that, or even locking us out and saying you can't be near a school, and it's like a dispensary can't be near a school when we don't even have any symbols that this is a cannabis-related store on the outside, but yet there's 3 liquor stores around the school. And we know that when we open up a dispensary, how that affects and drops the sales of liquor stores and drops the violence in communities. So thinking about things like that, but property is a huge barrier for us opening up in this industry. When I think about people that have been hoarding on to property, paying for property for years and not being able to do business out of that. So like Chauncey Spencer, 2 years. Or when I think about people that don't have money, I don't have the money to pay for property, so I'm blessed that my family has land. So what about those that don't? So.
And another case, this industry being a cash industry, that is, you cannot store your money at the bank, only specific places, I think.
Well, banks have just started,
they just started
opening up, thank goodness, but it's still
it's very limited.
Yeah, it's very limited, being driven by cash. And the argument is because you have cash, then there will be a lot of crime targeted toward that store, knowing that they have cash there. And actually, the process of getting and securing loans for people of color. So I'm thinking all these obstacles playing against.
So first we'll say, with the cash being on hand, we haven't seen an uptake in robberies to cannabis shops or anything like that. So we need to make that clear. And there's real clear rules. The cash isn't just easily, like, you have to have a safe built into your infrastructure. So it's safe. It isn't as if someone can just come in and stick you up and get away with it. The security behind these facilities are layers upon layers upon layers. I promise you, it's almost like trying to rob a bank. You know, it's not going to be that easy. So that's one thing. About the loans, there's a bill being proposed, which one of you guys could talk more about, that the legislature is saying for economic empowerment people to be able to get loans, because that is part of our problem, is access to capital. But that's one of the smaller parts of the puzzle. It's just so many pieces.
I think, and there needs to be layers of opportunities, and when we're thinking about equity. So loans, okay, what about grants? We need to just have a pool of funds. There needs to be money that's literally giving to these individuals, to these disproportionately affected areas, because there's going to be the people giving back to these communities. As economic empowerment people, one of the things is we're going to hire people from our community. Like, we have to, and we're going to hire people that have records, and people that
have
usually
to and want to.
Yeah, and we want to. You know what I mean? People that have records and people that usually aren't able to get jobs at other places that will be making a livable wage. So.
So what is at risk when these shops are not opening in communities of color, communities that have been targeted for decades on this war?
What's at risk is big business coming in. What's at risk is these big businesses partnering with someone from this community and having them being a face, and then
but what does that actually mean?
And what that means is the money doesn't come into our community, meaning that there's no one. We have to make a community impact plan, and that when that community impact plan isn't authentic, then the community suffers. There's no benefit to the community, and we've seen that with Wareham having one of the most expensive dispensaries here. And what has it done for our community?
The opioid crisis here has suffered, and when cannabis and when the community starts to accept cannabis more, we're going to see those numbers change.
They'll go down.
Drastically and quickly. We need things to be more accessible. We need the information to get out there more to the lay people, just regular, just not about your business, just having a conversation. After we're done talking, our hope is that you'll go talk to a few of your friends. And as we're doing events in the area, we're hoping that people join in. Come check it out with no preconceived notions of what it's going to be. We're all just regular people from all different walks of life, from all over, with all types of experiences. And when you come together, and then the fear starts to come down, and the community understands, okay, this isn't, as horrible as everyone's.
And it's really important. What we do is we go out in the community and we talk about what we should ask when people come into our communities and say they want to open up. And then I think we really need it, and how we have to go and do our own research and look at who's really behind that person, who are they connected to, big business, politically, who they're connected to, because these things are important. When we see these people come in and then they open up shop and they literally do nothing for the community, and you're like,
And all these things are interconnected. So even another risk for, say, communities of color not having businesses owned by members too is everything will stay the same. Nothing will change. Income equality, the huge wealth gap will continue. People will continue to be arrested at like high rates. It's and
they don't work on the policy. They're not working on the policies and all the other things that are going to not only impact these businesses, but impact our community and the consumer. So us as entrepreneurs and as consumers, we're looking at how is this impacting our community, the consumer, the one that's not using but lives here. We're looking at it as a whole. And we really have to look and ask all these things and ask these the employees of these medical dispensaries, how are you treated? How are you paid? What's your benefits? All these things.
So with the opening of this store in Boston owned by two African American, this is a good step forward, but you're saying that we still have a lot to do. This is not it.
Pure Oasis is a great business. We're glad that we have a business right in Boston that we can support, and we hope that our community comes out and really rallies around them. But with that being said, we have to understand for that one representation, there's a whole bunch of us standing behind the line saying, hey, we can't hear you. We don't have a seat at the table. And we have to move forward as a group of individuals, not as a business, each individual business, but the community and the businesses behind, and just let them know that no, we will not stand for Massachusetts residents not being a part of this industry. We deserve to be here. We've built this industry. This industry has been here. Black market has been strong for years and will continue to be strong. And it's getting stronger because of all
these barriers.
The barriers that are there. If you don't open the door and allow people in from all walks of life, we know the black market's going to continue to go.
And with that, it means they're going to
deliberate.
continue to prosecute these communities for something that it's currently
Well, right
legal.
now they'll tell you that you don't go to jail over it, but you will get arrested, harassed.
Wait, I just want to say actually, and you say you won't go out of jail. That they're opening pre-Oasis today, but our chief of police said that he's going to crack down on the black market now that they're opening this dispensary. So that doesn't make me happy as a black person, as someone from the community, to hear that, oh, now someone from my community, another brother gets to open up, and he's going to make good money, but now you're going to crack down on the black market, my brothers and sisters who aren't able to get in because they're still scared, and yet there's still barriers, and they see me coming out here talking about the community, but they're like, come on, look at all these barriers, you haven't even got there.
How does the law work? How does the restrictions work if you have a record? of selling in the black market?
Well, they tell you that it gives you a frontline seat, and that's what it should be, but we're seeing that isn't the case. Just because you have a drug case isn't guaranteeing you a seat at the table. It means you can stand in line and hope, or we have to get together and keep continuing to push and making sure that the records are expunged completely and that we're doing the most we can. We shouldn't, and we're going to be company owners also. But to open our business and know that people are still suffering, can't get jobs, can't get financial aid in school because of these having cannabis on their record is absolute nonsense. Not while people are making millions. We just have to stop this and put that at the forefront.
So we have about 2.5 minutes. Tell us what's next.
Next is we hope that you guys will join us at Urban Cannabis Grow Up Association on Sundays. We're in Rochester at the Senior Center giving farming classes because we're all about everything that affects the community. So yes, we champion cannabis, but we're here for farming, education, and everything else. Also in Rochester at AV Rose Farm this summer, we'll be doing a lot of educational events. And look for us at one of the corners here in town, flagging you down to come and have a conversation about cannabis. And also looking forward to one of our another partner in the industry. They're High Dunes out of Truro. They'll be coming to Wareham with some great information, and people should take advantage.
Very good.
Feel free to reach out on Facebook to any of us.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you so much. I mean, this is a very complicated issue, and I'm happy to know that you are out there fighting and actually providing the right information and educating and providing that assistance, that practical assistance to people who wish to become businessmen and women to join this industry. So I thank you so much, and I welcome you back to this studio. Anytime there's a new development, you can come in and you can talk about it.
We'll take you up on that.
Yeah, please, and we
Thank
can
you so
continue on
much.
this
Yeah.
discussion, truly. I'm very curious, and Wareham has voted yes to accept these businesses into the community.
Now let's get the
What
businesses
do
we
you-
want.
Yes,
Local.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Deliberate.
Organa
Gotta be
Brands,
deliberate.
the proposal has failed, but it means there is an opportunity for somebody else to go in there. So
And let's champion a minority business coming in, being the first here, and hopefully the community will step forward. Let's get some diversity up here in Wareham, and hopefully Wareham's really ready to bring a change and shine a new light on itself in a big way.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, to my viewers, thank you so much for joining us this morning for another Good Morning Wareham episode. With me was Ominique Gardner, was Goldie Piff, and Dawn Duncan. They're here to talk about, well, they educated us about the recreational marijuana industry and the obstacles that the communities of color are facing and their mission, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish. There are plenty of opportunities for you to join, to educate yourself and join the movement and try to have this industry be more equitable throughout. So with that, this episode will re-air this evening at 6 p.m. We'll also be back here on Friday with more. Have a lovely day, Wareham. Bye.